Your toddler is lying face down in the middle of a grocery store aisle, screaming at the top of their lungs because you wouldn't buy the sugary cereal with the cartoon rabbit on the box. Or maybe your teenager just slammed their bedroom doors so hard the pictures on the hallway wall rattled, all because you asked a simple question about their homework. In those moments, your heart rate spikes, your face flushes, and every instinct in your body tells you to lean into correction. You want to lecture, you want to punish, you want to lay down the law right then and there to prove who is in charge. But what if I told you that in that exact second of high tension, every word of correction coming out of your mouth is actually making the situation worse? What if the secret to getting the behavior you want isn't about more discipline, but about something much more primitive and powerful? Tonight, we're going deep into the neurological and emotional reality of why connection must always come before correction, and how shifting your focus from fixing the behavior to finding the child can transform your family dynamic overnight. Most of us were raised with a traditional model of parenting that looks like a courtroom. The child commits a crime. The parent acts as judge and jury, and a sentence is handed out to ensure the crime isn't repeated. We were told that if we didn't correct immediately, we were being soft or permissive. But modern neuroscience has completely flipped that script. When a child is acting out, when they are defiant, aggressive, or melting down, they are not in a state of mind where they can actually learn anything. Their brain is in survival mode. The prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for logic, reasoning, and impulse control, has effectively gone offline. They are being driven by the amygdala, the alarm center of the brain. If you try to correct a child whose brain is on fire, it's like trying to teach someone how to do long division while they're being chased by a bear. It doesn't matter how good your lecture is. They literally cannot hear you. Connection is the fire extinguisher. It's the physiological signal to the child's nervous system that they are safe. Until that safety signal is received, no amount of correction will stick. Imagine you're at work, and you make a huge mistake on a project. You're already feeling embarrassed, overwhelmed, and stressed. Your boss walks in, slams his hand on the desk, and starts shouting about how you need to do better and listing all the ways you failed. Does that make you want to do better? Or does it make you want to shut down, defend yourself, or quit? Now imagine that same mistake, but your boss sits down next to you, takes a breath, and says, "Hey, I can see you're really stressed out. This was a tough one. Let's take a minute and then we'll figure out how to fix it." In which scenario are you actually capable of learning and improving? The same logic applies to our kids, but on an even deeper, more developmental level. So how do we actually connect when we really just want to yell? It starts with regulation. This is the first step of the connection process. Before you can regulate your child, you have to regulate yourself. If you enter a conflict with your own alarm bells ringing, you are simply adding fuel to the fire. Kids have mirror neurons. They pick up on our heart rate, our tone of voice. Connection before correction means taking that 3-second pause to breathe and remind yourself, my child is not giving me a hard time. My child is having a hard time. This shift in perspective changes your entire approach. Once you are regulated, the next step of connection is validation. This is where a lot of parents get tripped up, because they think validating an emotion is the same as agreeing with the behavior. It isn't. You can validate the fact that your child is angry that they can't have the cereal while still not buying the cereal. You can say, "I can see you're really disappointed because you really wanted that rabbit cereal. It's hard when we can't get what we want." By saying those words, you are letting the child know that you see them. You are bridging the gap. You are acknowledging their reality. When a child feels understood, their nervous system begins to settle. The danger signal in their brain starts to fade. You are building the bridge that will eventually allow the correction to cross over. Now let's talk about why correction without connection leads to a cycle of shame and rebellion. When a child is constantly corrected without first feeling connected to their caregiver, they begin to internalize a message that they are bad. They don't think, "I made a bad choice." They think, "I am a bad person." Shame is a terrible teacher. Shame causes people to hide, to lie, and to lash out. If your relationship with your child is 80% correction and 20% connection, the attachment bond starts to fray. And attachment is the only real leverage you have as a parent. Why do kids listen to us? Is it because they fear our punishments? Maybe for a little while. But as they get older, fear loses its power. The only reason a teenager listens to a parent or cares about their opinion is because of the strength of the relationship. Connection is the bank account from which you draw when you need to make a correction withdrawal. If you haven't made any deposits, the check will bounce every time. Think of it like a computer. Connection is the Wi-Fi signal. Correction is the data you're trying to download. If the Wi-Fi signal is 0 bars, it doesn't matter how fast the data is or how important the file is, it's not going through. You can spend 2 hours lecturing your child about why they shouldn't hit their sibling. But if you didn't connect with them first to understand the frustration that led to the hitting, you're just wasting your breath. You're talking to a closed door. Connection opens the door. Many parents fear that if they focus on connection, they are being permissive. They worry their kids will walk all over them. But the connection before correction model is actually the opposite of permissive. It's high warmth and high structure. It's about being a sturdy leader. A sturdy leader doesn't need to bark orders to be respected. A sturdy leader is someone the child feels safe with, which makes the child actually want to cooperate. When you have a strong bond, your child is naturally more inclined to follow your lead because they trust you. They aren't just trying to avoid a consequence. They are trying to maintain the harmony of the relationship. Let's look at the time in versus the time out. Traditional parenting relies heavily on the time out, sending a child away into isolation to think about what they did. But a child who is dysregulated isn't thinking about what they did. They are sitting in their room feeling rejected, misunderstood, and more angry than before. A time in, which is a core connection strategy, involves sitting with the child while they are upset. You don't even have to talk. You just offer your presence. You are saying, I am here with you in your big feelings. You are not too much for me. We are going to get through this together. Then, and only then, do you talk about what happened. That's the correction part. And it's infinitely more effective, because the child is actually present to hear it. We also have to talk about attachment theory. We've known since the work of John Bowlby and Mary Ainsworth that a secure attachment is the foundation of all healthy human development. A child with a secure attachment knows that their caregiver is a safe base. When we prioritize correction over connection, we inadvertently threaten that sense of safety. We make our love and our presence feel conditional on their good behavior. While we might get short-term compliance through this method, we are sacrificing long-term mental health and relational trust. Connection before correction ensures that even in the midst of a mistake, the child knows the relationship is secure. This security allows them to take responsibility for their actions, because they aren't afraid that a bad action will result in a loss of love. Another key aspect of connection is play. Play is the language of childhood. Sometimes, the best way to connect before correcting is through humor or silliness. If your child is refusing to put on their shoes, you could turn it into a power struggle and start counting to 3. Or you could connect by pretending you can't find your own feet, or by making the shoes talk to them. This playfulness breaks the tension. It switches the child's brain from fight or flight to social engagement. Once they are laughing and engaged with you, they are much more likely to put on their shoes. You've achieved the correction, but you did it through the side door of connection. Now, let's talk about the long game. It's about who your child becomes 20 years from now. When you choose connection before correction, you are modeling how to handle conflict with empathy and respect. You are teaching your child that people are more important than rules. You are showing them how to regulate their own emotions by co-regulating with them. These are life skills that will serve them in their friendships, their future marriages, and their own parenting. You are making a generational investment. I know what some of you are thinking, but my kid is really defying me. I can't just hug them when they're being a jerk. It's a valid feeling. But remember, defiance is usually a secondary emotion. Beneath the defiance is often fear, sadness, or a feeling of powerlessness. If you only correct the defiance, you are just treating the symptom. If you connect to the underlying feeling, you are treating the cause. A child who feels powerful and understood doesn't need to be defiant. By seeking the connection first, you are actually being more efficient. You are getting to the root of the problem rather than just playing whack-a-mole with bad behaviors. There is also the repair phase. We are all human. We are all going to lose our cool sometimes. We are going to skip the connection and go straight to shouting. When that happens, the connection before correction model gives us a way back. It's called repair. You go to your child, you apologize for your reaction, and you reconnect. This is incredibly powerful. It shows the child that relationships aren't perfect, but they are repairable. It reinforces that the connection is the priority, even when things go wrong. In fact, some of the strongest bonds are built through the process of rupture and repair. Let's look at the correction part of the equation, because it still matters. Connection before correction doesn't mean no correction. It means that the correction happens in the relational zone. Once the child is calm and connected, you can have a real conversation. Hey, when you hit your brother, it really hurt him. Our family is a place of safety. What can you do differently next time you feel that angry? The child can actually engage in problem solving. They can learn. They can develop empathy. This is correction in its truest sense from the Latin word corrigere, which means to guide or to set right. And a child only follows someone they feel connected to. Think about your own life. Who are the people you go to for advice? Who are the people whose correction you actually listen to? It's probably the people who you know love you, who listen to you, and who get you. It's the friend who hears your whole story before saying, "Yeah, you might have messed that up." We don't take advice from people who we feel are judging us or who don't understand our perspective. Why would our kids be any different? If we want our guidance to have any weight, we have to earn the right to be heard through the quality of our connection. We also need to consider the sensory aspect of connection. Sometimes, connection doesn't involve any words at all. It can be a hand on a shoulder, a hug, or just sitting on the floor at their level. Physical touch releases oxytocin, the bonding hormone, which naturally lowers cortisol, the stress hormone. For a child in the middle of a meltdown, a firm, loving hug can do more than 1,000-word lecture ever could. It's a biological reset. It tells the nervous system, the storm is over. You can come out now. One of the most profound shifts in my own parenting came when I realized that my child's misbehavior was actually a miscoded request for connection. When they are being particularly difficult, it's usually because they feel disconnected from me. Maybe I've been on my phone too much, or I've been stressed about work, or we've just been too busy moving from one activity to the next. The bad behavior is an alarm bell saying, "Hey, I need you. I don't feel safe or seen right now." If I respond to that cry for help with more distance and punishment, I am just confirming their fear. If I respond with connection, the behavior often melts away on its own. Connection before correction is also about curiosity. Instead of assuming you know why your child is acting out, you get curious. I wonder what's going on for them right now. I wonder why this is such a struggle today. This curiosity prevents you from taking their behavior personally. It allows you to stay in the role of the detective rather than the prosecutor. When you approach your child with curiosity, and often just being curious and asking, "Help me understand what happened," is enough to bring the walls down. Let's talk about the neuroplasticity aspect. The brain tracks what it experiences repeatedly. If a child repeatedly experiences correction followed by connection, their brain develops a pathway that moves from stress to resolution. They learn how to self-regulate. But if they experience constant correction without the bridge of connection, they develop a brain that is stuck in high alert. They become more prone to anxiety and more reactive to stress. By prioritizing connection, you are literally helping to wire your child's brain for emotional resilience. You are giving them the internal tools they need to navigate the world. There is a beautiful quote that says, "A child needs your love most when they deserve it least." That is the heart of connection before correction. It's easy to be connected when they are being good and getting along. The real work, the pro level of parenting, is finding that connection when they are being difficult. It's looking through the screaming, the defiance, and the "I hate you" to see the scared, overwhelmed child underneath. It's choosing to stay in the foxhole with them instead of throwing them out of it. I want to speak to the parents of older kids for a second. If you haven't been doing this, it isn't too late. The bridge can always be rebuilt. It might take more time, especially with teenagers who have built up walls of protection. But the fundamental human need for connection never goes away. Your teen still wants to be seen, still wants to be understood, and still wants to feel safe with you. Even if they push you away, stay sturdy. Keep offering the connection. Keep validating their feelings. Eventually, they will realize that the bridge is safe to cross. The connection model also saves you so much energy. Power struggles are exhausting. They drain the life out of a home. When you switch to a connection-first approach, The temperature of the house drops. Challenges still happen, but they don't turn into 3-hour marathons of yelling and tears. You become a team, instead of opponents. You are working together to solve the problem of the behavior, rather than you trying to beat the child into submission. Let's look at the body language of connection. Are you standing over them? Are you pointing a finger? Are you looking at them through a screen? Connection before correction means getting down on their level. It means making eye contact that says I love you rather than I'm watching you. It means soft shoulders and a relaxed jaw. Your physical presence is a massive part of the connection signal. If your body is screaming I'm angry, your words of I want to help won't be believed. Another tool for connection is active listening. This is more than just hearing the words, it's reflecting back what you hear. So what I'm hearing is that it felt really unfair when I said we have to leave the park. Am I getting that right? This shows the child that you are a reliable witness to their life. It makes them feel felt. And once a child feels felt, they don't need to keep screaming to get their point across. The volume of the behavior goes down because the reception has been confirmed. We also have to address the societal pressure to correct. We often feel judged by other people, the neighbors, the grandparents, the people in the grocery store. We feel like we have to perform discipline, so people don't think we're bad parents. But your child's emotional health is more important than a stranger's opinion. Connection before correction might look messy to an outsider who doesn't understand the science. It might look like you're giving in when you're actually stepping in. Stay focused on your child, not the audience. The long-term results will speak for themselves. It's helpful to have a mantra for those high-stress moments. Something like connect before you direct. Or safety first, logic later. These little mental cues help pull you out of your own alarmed state and back into your leader state. They remind you that the goal isn't to win, it's to mentor. Mentorship requires a relationship. In the world of business, we talk about buy-in. You can't implement a major change in a company without buy-in from the employees. The same is true for correction in a family. You are trying to implement a change in behavior. Without the buy-in of the child, which comes from the connection, your policy change will be met with strikes and sabotage. Connection is the buy-in phase. It's making sure everyone is on the same page and feels valued before the work of setting things right begins. Let's talk about the physical environment of connection. Is your home a place where connection is easy? Do you have times of special time where there are no phones? No corrections, just being together. These preemptive connection deposits make the crisis moments so much easier. If the child feels deeply connected to you on a Tuesday morning when things are calm, they will be much more likely to accept your correction on a Tuesday afternoon when things get chaotic. You are building the muscle memory of connection. The correction phase, when it finally comes, should be about problem solving, not penance. It's not about making the child suffer so they remember not to do it again. It's about figuring out how to do it better next time. Okay, we're both calm now. How can we handle it next time you're frustrated about the game? This approach empowers the child. It gives them agency. It moves them from being a victim of their own impulses to being a master of them. And that shift only happens in the safety zone of connection. One of the most powerful things a parent can do is to say, I'm so sorry I started yelling. I got overwhelmed. I want to try that again. Can we start over? This reset button is a masterclass in connection. It shows the child that everyone struggles, and that the relationship is bigger than the mistake. It models humility and emotional intelligence. It's the ultimate connection before correction move, because you are correcting your own behavior through the lens of connection. In conclusion, connection before correction isn't just a parenting tip, it's a fundamental shift in how we view the human heart. It's recognizing that behavior is just the tip of the iceberg, and that the real work, the real life, happens underneath the surface. It's about building a home where everyone feels safe to be seen, even at their worst. When you prioritize the bond over the behavior, you aren't just raising well-behaved kids. You are raising whole, healthy, resilient humans who know they are loved. That is the only correction that ever really matters. Next time you're in that grocery store aisle, or next time that bedroom door slams, take a breath. Remind yourself that the person on the other side of that noise is your person. Reach for the bridge before you reach for the rulebook. The behavior will follow the bond. It always does. You've got this. Stick with the connection, stay sturdy, and watch how the world of your family begins to change, one connected moment at a time. The work is hard, But the rewards are infinite. Your child is worth the connection. And so are you. You're doing a great job, even on the days that feel like a grocery store aisle disaster. Just keep connecting. Everything else will fall into place.